along the way. The point is that you can work and learn at the same time, because the old model is busted. And it works at a very high level for kids that come from certain kind of families or go to certain kind of institutions or can get certain kind of jobs when they're done. But for most Americans, it's not working. And it's the number one thing I hear about from young people is, how do I afford college? It doesn't make any sense. How am I going to start a life with all this debt? And it affects their parents, because the parents are the ones who've been trying to save all these years and they can't get there. And of course it has implications for their retirement and everything else as well. So I do think the number one thing we got to do is grow this economy and bring everybody along. And I am encouraged by some of the stuff that's being talked about out there. And there are some good signs. If you look at the energy revolution in the United States, the ability to lower energy costs, if you look at our opportunities to bring manufacturing back to America, it's one of the reasons I oppose this trade deal. I want to make things in the United States again, and I want to create middle-class jobs here in places like Poughkeepsie and Newburgh. We have a lot of local industries that we can support that can provide those jobs, that can manufacture things. We need to invest in our own infrastructure. We need to invest in our own kids. We need to stop sending money to every country in the world, particularly in wars that we can't afford, that we don't need to fight. And we need to invest here. So I don't want to give you a whole speech about it, but that's, I mean, it's a pretty broad topic, but that's open.
Even if you bit the bullet and went through this education, where are the jobs? I mean, I'm in manufacturing right now, and I've been here in manufacturing for 42 years. And I can even help you associates with actual publications like this one that I brought today. And I have I cut these out of the actual manufacturing. This is what business actually thinks and says, regardless of what you hear on the news. This actual trade magazine. I'm an industrial machinist now, ball bearings, local manufacturer, Poughkeepsie. This is where the jobs are, where they should be, why they're coming back, all the mechanics of this. But it's mostly, the jobs are not there even after you bit the bullet for college.
I agree. It's both. It's both. We have to create middle class jobs like the one my old man got.
The country was built, like John F. Kennedy said, on what people do for ourselves. The government could be a help. The initiative has to come with the American people themselves.
No argument for me. I mean, there's no substitute for hard work. But most people I meet are working pretty hard. And you meet a single mom who's working 3 jobs at Walmart and waitressing and whatnot, and doesn't have any benefits and doesn't have any retirement account, just trying to send a kid to college.
One of your associates, I've handed this out to a number of local politicians and the school board members. Assuming one of these 2 ladies here is your associate. The last 2 paragraphs will tell the whole 9 yards. And I have plenty more I've edited.
Yeah, I'll look at
that I do for my employer and for local politicians. I said, this is what business says they need. This is the help we can use. The whole thing is, I mean, I've seen friends and relatives be taxed out of the area, go run through their lives to other states. And the whole thing is, the system is set up to benefit the people working for the government. The heck with the people that are actually, in the private industry paying for this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go that far.
They took care of their needs.
You're going to get in trouble with this
You're
one
different,
here,
so you can be voted out of the office. If you're voted out of the office, they're still there. It's not to mock you, my friend. It's not to mock you.
No,
but that's the way it's set up.
I know, but I wouldn't go beating up on everybody who works for government.
Not everybody,
I mean,
but it's still set up that way.
What I said, and I mean, is that we have a lot of redundancy in government.
Oh,
but I would not be making the people working at the enemy either. I think that for the most part, they're very hardworking, dedicated people. But we may have set up a structure that is top heavy in a lot of ways, and we can do better than that. But look, at the end of the day, we got to grow this thing, right? And that's what manufacturing represents. We want to grow this economy 3.5% again, not 2. And if we do that, a lot of the problems we have are going to start seeming more manageable. And if we make some smart choices, if we reform our immigration system, if we invest in our people, if we keep investing in our kids in school and the right kind of education, and we stop weakening ourselves by getting involved in a bunch of adventures overseas that we can't afford, I think we can grow through this. And a lot of these things that we're hearing from our kids and our seniors are going to seem a little better, but we got to make good choices again.
Yeah, but see, this is the whole
We've done it
thing.
before. I mean, people act like we're a poor country and we're in this terrible crisis. The fact is, we've been in much worse shape in many
but
places.
it's not well distributed. But I mean, as a family, just to send our kids to Blue Ribbon School, St. Martin's de Porres, across the river, and Lord's, we're spending about $6,000 a year. Everybody contributes to send these kids to a Blue Ribbon School. In the meanwhile, you know, the state is spending $18,000 to $22,000 a year per pupil for mediocre education. How is that? And I've, you know, pointed this out to them. I said, where is all this extra money going? I mean, is this going towards like the military with $900 hammers and $1,200 screwdrivers? Where's the extra money going? When they negotiate benefits for the public school teachers, they should be able to get the best prices on, you know, health care benefits and so forth. Not the worst price. Where's all this money going to? If people, after they pay these taxes, can get this type of education for this cost, where's that money going to? We need it's not the school budget. Where is it literally going to? Item by item. How is it being spent?
I'd like to.
Do you want to get anything?
Can I ask a separate question?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about the bill that was just
If you've been here at all, you notice we've covered a lot of ground.
No, I
already.
know, and I'm like...
Went from Iran to
I
Social
know,
Security
I know.
to manufacturing,
Yeah, it
local
is.
government to Taiwan.
The taxes.
Okay, well, I was asking
Ask
about
anything you want.
Yeah, the safe and the labeling act that they had just passed.
Yeah. You're talking about GMOs.
Yeah.
People know what she's talking about? It's genetically modified.
So it's a passion point of mine, and obviously I was pretty disappointed when it was passed, and thank you, you voted.
I voted against it.
So appreciate that.
Right.
I guess, what do you think the chances are of getting passed in the Senate? Because my concern is, what do we do? Like, why are they taking this away from us? I mean, it's an integrity issue to me.
Yeah.
I just want transparency. I mean,
Yeah.
for my children, and there's a lot of people in this industry, in this area, who are terrific. I only buy local. I refuse to go to the grocery store anymore. If I do, it's shopping around the outside. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
will not
good.
go down and buy anything boxed.
Well, we have
And
great produce
we
locally.
do, but not everybody has that option, and I feel like income to always do that. So what do you think is going to happen? Because it's scary.
Well, here's what I think. So for people that don't know what she's talking about, there was a bill in the Congress this week that was being pushed by sort of big agriculture, I would say. And I'll try to be fair about it. But what the legislation was responding to is that a couple of states, like Vermont, have come out with their own laws saying you have to label when things are genetically
Not take it out,
modified.
just label. It's not actually
Labeling.
people.
That's right. It's not banning it, but it's saying it'd be labeled. But there's no uniform definition of that, and so it does create confusion. People don't know what it means. There's different kind of views about what that ought to entail, because people should understand. GMOs are kind of in a huge number of things you already consume and buy, and there's a lot of very powerful arguments for it in terms of the productivity per acre and the opportunity to create better nutrition around the world. And there's there's a very robust debate about this. But what's your name? What Suzanne's point is that I just want to know, and then I'll make my own choices about So what this bill would have done is it would have said, first of all, no states can do anything, only federal government can do it. That's called preemption. So we're going to take it out of the hands of the states. That's the first thing you said, or like why it's being taken from us. So that's the first thing. It did pass the House. I voted against it. So her question is, will it pass the Senate? The answer to your question is, I'm not sure. I don't know. The second thing it did is it said, we're going to have a voluntary labeling program administered by the FDA that is akin to sort of the gluten-free label or other things that happen now, that if somebody wants to put it on their label, we'll kind of tell you what it means, and we'll establish a definition of that. And that's not nothing, but because that does work in other contexts. But that's
FDA, though, 'cause I have
yeah,
a
sure.
problem with
But
the
people,
FDA, so that's over there.
believe me, I've
won't
heard
do
this.
that.
I got
Okay.
3,600 letters on this. I know what you're going to say. People say, yeah, but we want it mandatory. Everybody's got to disclose. We got to know, and that's my position too. We should have mandatory labeling. I think it is a fair question, right? What the consumer's supposed to think when you say it's, because most people are like, well, all right, so now it says GMO. What does that mean? Am I supposed to be concerned? Is it a warning, like a pack of cigarettes or something, or is it like a nutrition label that says it's got B12 in it? And maybe you know, but I don't know what the hell I should think about B12. But I know my product has it in it or something, right? And so I think that's a fair conversation. I do think we are at the point where it's not going to work to have a voluntary system. And I understand the concerns of the patchwork of different states doing different things. That's obviously going to create trouble too. But states are doing this because there's no uniform disclosure requirement at the federal level. So
The FDA is not always the fastest in getting stuff done. I mean,
Correct.
and also what they allow, and they have. I just learned this week about this GRAS plan, GRAS, generally regarded as safe, that the FDA decides that if they don't really have time or they think it's safe, it can pass through. And that's how 20,000 chemicals have gotten into our food without us really knowing what's in there. So now the FDA gets to take on this piece. It's frustrating because we have one, maybe 4 kids in our family. I have one. So you heard me say something's going on. We did not grow up like this. So it's really just
Well, so I agree with it. So I think we ought to have a mandatory labeling system. I do think it should be science-based, and it ought to be neutral if you can't prove a link to something. We shouldn't be scaring people unfairly. So that's where you and I might disagree, because I need to freak everybody out because they're buying something that's GMO. And by the way, we have gone from, 80 bushels an acre to 200 bushels an acre in corn production and other things, and the ability for better disease resistance can actually reduce pesticide use, and it can feed the world, and there are a lot of good things that can be done with this, right? So before we all freak out about it.
Everything has corn in it. So whereas when we were growing up, you and I would have probably had a corn on the cob. Our kids are eating this is now, my kids are not, but lots of children are eating cereal, breakfast, bread at lunch, chips with this, and once you add that up, they're saying that individually that might have hurt them, but the amount of stuff that they're getting saturated with in a day, I don't know if anybody's looking at it. So while you're right, individually, I can see why we want to scare people, but as a whole, we should be a little.
Yeah, look, no, I mean, you and I are agreeing. I think we ought to have a mandatory label, and it ought to be based in science. We ought to understand this better, and that's what I support. I would like to see it done nationally, so that you didn't have a patchwork system.
Absolutely,
But I can understand why states are moving when the federal government's not.
And a lot of moms are trying to make decisions too, and I don't feel like our voice is heard, and I just want to know, how do we get in there?
I want to assure you, your voice has been heard in my office.
I want to make sure too. That's why I'm here.
3,600 letters on this,
I'm part of the mom's blog.
as much as
Make sure
anything else.
that's
So, no, I'm listening.
I appreciate you're here. This is like awesome. I don't want to.
No, I got it. And I don't know what's going on in the Senate. I couldn't tell you, and I don't know where your senators are on this, so I can't speak for them. But I don't know. But
You have about 5 minutes left.
okay, no problem.
I'm sorry.
But we'll keep working on it. Hold on, I want to give somebody who hasn't had a chance. Anybody who hasn't had a
This is a
chance?
GMO thing. I don't want to wait for science. They would talk about that back in the 60s with cigarettes. Oh,
Yeah.
we can't have warning on our cigarettes because there's no proof it causes
Right.
cancer. I want the information on my food packaging now, with or without science. I'll decide.
All right. Well, with or without science, I just agreed with you. But what I'm
want
trying to say is
science,
also reasonable, which
but I don't wanna wait
is
20
it makes no
years for
sense
them
to
to make up their
if we are going to warn you about something, we should know what we are warning you
Well,
about.
I don't want
That's
you
not the
warning.
same as saying
I
we
just-
shouldn't warn. We shouldn't disclose what's in your food.
I want to disclose.
Right.
So it's not a warning.
Amen.
I want to disclose.
But I do think we should. Last thing I want to do is reasonable when you're passionate, right?
President Obama.
I agree with you. So I'm like, but
Maloney's are taking this
I tell
time.
you, people. I think people are
There's a lot of people
are so worked up about this that I do think people like me have a responsibility to say, before I slap some warning on there and tell you it's gonna, kill your children, that we understand what we're talking about. I do think it is fair. I get in trouble sometimes when I agree with somebody because I just say something else, but I agree with you. And I just told you I voted against the bill that wouldn't have required mandatory labeling.
You just want to make sure that when you're home and you're dealing with 24/7, that when you're doing your job and the government, I appreciate everybody what they do. It's like sometimes you feel like there's not the connection.
Yeah, I got
You feel like I'm doing this 24/7 and other people are not.
Yeah, well, I do the grocery shopping in my house, and I spend about $1,500 a month on food. So believe me, I think about food. But because my kids are like a horde of locusts, and the best thing, because they eat it all, man. I don't get to it. They eat it first before I get it. I'm the last of 6 kids. I have to fight my food the whole time. 4 older brothers.
President Obama.
But the best thing you're doing is buying local. That's great. And
Boycott it. I gotta be honest, that's my big thing.
support our local agriculture. We have some of the best in the world right here.
Because my thing is, if you don't buy it, they're gonna go under. And I don't want people to go under, but if you don't hear my voice, I call every company that has stuff in it I don't want, and I tell them I will refuse to buy your stuff, and I will tell everyone, but please, I want to buy your stuff.
Do you understand what's in half of the label?
I do now because I have
Yeah.
read more and I've wasted so much time. So the thing is this, it's just about making people struggle because that's what we're doing. So if this company will not do what I need, you will struggle the way I'm struggling to fix it. So
Man, I am so glad I voted the right way on this.
yeah, not either way, but I don't know that's correct.
I'm struggling enough, trust me. All right, sir, sorry.
Yes.
Just give me the last
President
question.
Obama,
That's all right. I gotta
President
run.
Obama, he says the key is the checking, and how we ensure
He's the what now?
checking about the nuclear, the mechanism. How the key is the checking up.
You're losing
Do
me.
you?
He's the chicken.
On the Iranian.
No, check.
Checking the Iranian.
Checking.
Yes.
Yes.
C-H-E
I'm sorry.
C-H-E-C-K-I-N-G.
Yes, checking, yes.
Okay, so how we ensure that checking mechanism will work? Do you happen to know?
Yeah, well, we're bringing it
And
full circle. 'Cause
here's
this is where we
some
started the conversation today.
Yeah, right.
Look,
So-
it's absolutely critical. You can't do a deal that relies on trust. You just can't do it. And so you've got to have
So
rigorous
how we our
inspection.
office, we going to keep a good eye on it?
Well, I can tell you what the agreement provides. I haven't made my mind up about this, and so I can't tell you whether it's good enough. That's what I'm looking at right now. What the agreement provides is, in fairness to the administration, more extensive than what's ever been negotiated, and it would be very extensive inspections and real-time monitoring. I mean, video cameras, humans on site.
You expect them to agree to that?
They already have. That's in the agreement. So they will have, the IAEA will be on site, and there will be 24/7 video monitoring of all the declared facilities, right? Question is, are there undeclared facilities? We have very good intelligence on this. We don't think so. We also will have monitoring of the entire fuel cycle, which has never been done before, literally from the uranium mine